Kelly shows her event planning prowess while on a conversation with a client. She assures the client, Sarah, that there's nothing to worry about as it concerns the event surrounding Sarah's exhibition. All Sarah has to do is focus on the paintings for the exhibition, because she can be rest assured she hired a pro. Emma waits in a coffee shop with a cold cup of coffee. The attendant notices her idly staring about and offers her another cup, which she agrees to. Just then, Kelly walks in the shop, and they both squeal and hug excitedly. The coffee shop is a regular for Emma, and she's hoping Kelly and her can sit for a while, maybe over a cup of coffee and some muffins. Kelly tells Emma she has less than 4 minutes to be back at the office. Kelly and Emma are best friends, but Emma feels like she barely knows what's happening in Kelly's life these days. She thinks it's only right that as best friends they have proper time for each other, even while respecting that Kelly has a busy life. Kelly agrees and states she has 3 days off the following week, which they could use for a spa treatment. Emma thinks it exciting, and Kelly states that she'll book the appointment right away. The attendant comes with Emma's second cup of coffee, and she quickly drinks the first one, then hogs the second. Kelly takes one good look at the attendant and can see why Emma likes the coffee shop so much. Emma denies it and asks if there's anything substantial in Kelly's love life. Kelly sarcastically states she barely has time for her best friend, much more a partner. Emma advises that Kelly could find a balance between her work and personal life. Kelly returns to the office to meet flowers and a card from a happy client. Her colleague, Samantha, remarks she's never received flowers from a client in her many years of experience, and this means Kelly has a knack for what she does. She lets Kelly know someone would be resigning soon, and it will leave the position open for Kelly to be promoted to. Kelly accepts the proposal, and Samantha tells her to keep up the good work. Forrest, the attendant and seemingly owner of the Forest Cafe shop Emma frequents, is out jogging with his friend, Joe. Joe has a new job offer in Dubai, and he states it's a surreal feeling knowing he'll have to move over to the other side of the world. Forrest understands it's a shock, but doesn't understand why Joe has failed to notify his family about the new job. Joe gets a surprise visit from his mother and niece, Willow. His mom asks that Willow spends the afternoon with her uncle, as Willow requested for it. Over a bowl of ice cream, Willow expresses she's missed spending time with Joe and looks forward to catching up now that she's older, as she'll be in New York more often. Joe fidgets and hints Willow could channel that energy into time with her grandmother instead, who also stays in New York. Willow, however, insists Grandma won't give her a good time the way her uncle would. Joe struggles to tell her something, but instead blurts out how he'll throw her the biggest party for her upcoming birthday. Kelly calls Emma to inform her the spa treatment has been booked, and they can look forward to some time out to be pampered. She's close to the Forest Cafe and decides she'll stop by for some coffee. Joe and Forrest are knee-deep in conversation when Kelly interrupts to get her order, stating she has an important appointment to get to. While Forrest goes to prepare her order, Joe points out she was rude with her approach to order. He nicely gives her tips on how she could do better and wishes her well on her pending appointment. Kelly returns back to Horizon Events in time for her important appointment. The client happens to be Joe, seeking professional assistance in throwing his niece a birthday party. Although he earlier stated he has no idea how to go about an event planning, he starts to pitch an idea at the same time Kelly happens to want to say something as well. She apologizes sarcastically for interrupting again, and he asks if she was offended at the cafe earlier. She denies it, then goes on to interrupt again that she has a booked schedule, and she's not the one for children events. He argues he's in the best event planning company in the city, and she affirms he is, but it still doesn't change her already booked schedule. She wishes him luck regardless, and it's a conceiting and sarcastic replica of him doing the same at the cafe earlier. When he leaves, Samantha comes and asks for an update. Turns out Kelly's ego was bruised at the cafe. She doesn't admit this to Samantha, but lies instead that she wasn't getting the best vibes from Joe. Samantha gives her a puzzled look, lecturing her that she's just let the chief editor of Cititrend.com, the most popular lifestyle website in New York, slip out of her hands. She points having him as a client would have been good for Kelly's promotion race, and that's all it takes for Kelly to put pride aside to go chasing after Joseph Barker. She catches up to him just as he's about to leave the building and gives him her card. He states he has other event planners to meet, but she insists she's had a change of heart and looks forward to collaborating with him. Joe fails to call her, so she reaches out to him. He lies he's currently with another event planner who's more professional, but he'll make his final decision by the following morning. This gives Kelly hope that he'll possibly reach out to her, and she remarks she looks forward to hearing from him. He was actually just at home with Willow, who noses about if he was on the phone with his girlfriend. Joe doesn't have a girlfriend, and would prefer his darling niece concentrates on her fries and ketchup instead. The next morning comes and Samantha expresses disappointment that they've possibly lost Mr. Joseph Barker. Kelly is at her workstation when he finally calls back and invites her for a meeting at the Forest Cafe. He's quick to remind her it's the cafe that she first rudely interrupted him, and he'll be there for the next 30 minutes or so. Kelly goes out of her way to meet him there against office rules, but Samantha notices and chooses not to speak on it. Kelly gets a text from Emma, who is pumped up for their girls' time. She guiltily puts her phone away and gets talking with Joe. The party has just a 2-week preparation period because Joe wants it on Willow's birthday. He gives Kelly some tips on the theme based on what Willow would want and asks to be involved in the planning process. The preparation period is short and clients usually don't have to be involved in it, but Joe insists and looks forward to the start of their team work the following day. Kelly gets a text from Samantha, who is hopeful the bag has been secured and wants Kelly to give it the company's very best. Kelly gets home and summons up the courage to call Emma. She feels a heavy bang of guilt having to cancel on Emma, who still looks forward to the spa treatment. Kelly explains a new job came up, and she would prefer Emma still goes, but takes her mom along. Emma ends the call before Kelly can properly end their conversation. Kelly meets up with Joe to check out a possible event hall for Willow's big day. They have another personality clash again, with Joe nitpicking about Kelly's lateness this time, and Kelly failing to see what the big deal is. Kelly soon gets into the event planner mode and has the venue sold on Joe. She struggles to get a clear picture of what Willow is like from Joe and decides she'll need to do an assessment by herself. The plan is to pretend she's a colleague from work just stopping by for a visit. This is because Kelly would need to get a personality check from the birthday girl to give her the best theme, and Joe doesn't want Willow to know he didn't plan her party all by himself. Kelly joins Joe and Willow on a lunch break in a park. Both Kelly and Willow have ice cream, and Willow asks if Joe and Kelly are an item. They both tell her they're not. Then Kelly gets into investigation mode, trying to gauge Willow's interest. The two hit it off nicely over their shared interest in a popular game all the kids are playing at the moment. Kelly continues to work on the preparations well into the night at home, sketching ideas into her notepad. The next day, Kelly meets with Joe at Maggie's shop to get a cake order. Kelly pitches the theme should be about the game Willow and her friends are obsessed about, and suggests the cake should have the theme as well. Joe struggles with the whole concept of the theme and feels the idea for the cake is too over the top. Maggie steps out to let them decide. Kelly returns back to her office and tries to reach Emma, but she's redirected to voicemail. Samantha notices Kelly doesn't look good and comes over to know how it's going. Kelly expresses her difficulty working with Joe, elucidating that he's rude, close-minded, and uncreative. She suggests someone else be assigned to him, and Samantha alludes she'd be out of the promotion race if she can't handle the heat. Meanwhile, Joe battles with coming to terms with the job offer in Dubai. It's Joe's turn to be a few minutes late for an appointment. Him and Kelly meet with an entertainer that easily blows their mind with his magic tricks. During their coffee break, they gush over how entertaining the performance was, and Joe is sure Willow is going to love it as well. Next up on Kelly's list is music. Joe suggests a DJ, but Kelly feels live music would tie the whole fairy tale theme better. She checks out a performer she's used in the past who happens to be free to be booked on Willow's day. The performer is also playing at a restaurant that same evening that Kelly suggests Joe should check out to gauge if she's up to par. Joe initially assumes him, and Kelly will be going to the restaurant together, but Kelly states she doesn't have to unless Joe wants her to be there. Forrest comes over to ask Joe if they're still up for their outing that evening, but Joe has to reschedule. Their exchange makes Kelly question if they know each other that well, and Joe mentions him and Forrest play squash on their time off and go way back. Kelly gets up to put sugar in her coffee. While her back is turned, Joe quickly goes through her notepad to find impressive details concerning his niece's party. Joe's mom and Willow are cooking in Joe's kitchen. A piece of shell from a broken egg gets into the bowl, and Joe's mom teaches Willow a technique to get it out. Willow wants to know why the technique works, and her grandmother comments about the little piece wanting to stay with the bigger piece because it's home. The discussion gets to Joe, who is still battling with his decision to stay to leave. He still hasn't said a word of it, but he tells them he's off to meet Kelly. They're quick to assume he's going on a date. Kelly and Joe arrive at the restaurant, both dressed the part for a lovely dinner date. Kelly gets nostalgia as the place reminds her of home in New Orleans. She orders a meal on their behalf she promises Joe will enjoy. Both go with water over wine. Friendly chat with the waiter restaurant owner reveals the restaurant is only some weeks old and hoping to get a more solid reputation. The potential live band performer has been strumming on her guitar the entire time. And with them settled and the waiter gone to prepare their orders, Joe notes she plays beautifully well. Kelly paints a vivid picture of Willow's day with the music performer in it. Joe watches her speak quite intently about it, then apologizes, knowing he's been stubborn and unwilling to trust her better judgment. He now sees she's good at her job and is willing to bow to her expertise. Kelly doesn't hate the apology or the trust. The waiter returns with a rose that he nudges Joe to give to Kelly. The two get awkward with the presence of the rose, and Kelly finally suggests Joe can give it to Willow instead. After their meal, Kelly and Joe thank the waiter for an evening well spent. The food and setting was great for them both, and the waiter restaurant owner is glad to hear so, urging that they come back anytime and spread the news about the place. Joe decides to use his position in the blogging niche to give the waiter his wish. This makes the waiter very happy. Kelly and Joe step out into the night with Kelly teasing she's glad Joe went for her meal suggestion over his initial choice of salad. He admits he enjoyed the meal, and he's fine with Kelly booking the music performer. Kelly promises to do that first thing the following morning. They both linger in each other's company with thoughtful gazes at each other before they exchange goodnights and go their separate ways. Kelly shows up for her yoga class that she and Emma normally attend. Emma and the rest of the class are in session, and Kelly joins in by Emma's side. She apologizes profusely, stating that she's been so busy and would like Emma give her one more chance to prove their friendship matters. Emma keeps giving the silent treatment until Kelly entices her with some potential information she has on her crush, Forrest. Samantha asks for an update from Kelly, who has positive feedback. Kelly is able to confidently tell her that she and Joe are getting along quite well. He trusts her judgment and things are running more smoothly. Samantha is happy to hear this, but Kelly has more. She recalls Joe offered to pitch a good word for the restaurant owner and his restaurant and states she can most likely get Joe to do a feature about the company as well. Kelly has to clarify the whole restaurant visit was still on a professional note, but Samantha is sold on the idea on getting the company featured. Forrest, Kelly, and Joe are at the cafe talking when Emma just happens to walk in and find Kelly. The women greet each other, and Kelly uses the opportunity to introduce Emma to Joe and Forrest. Forrest recalls he's seen Emma in the cafe several times before. The truth is that this was previously planned, so Emma lies about being into the game, squash, to keep Forrest's attention. Kelly mentions that she and Joe will have to leave to the zoo. She plans to hire an alpaca for Willow's party. As Willow has stated, they're her favorite animals. This gives Forrest and Emma room to hopefully get to know themselves better. Kelly and Joe step out, and Joe comments that he's witnessed the worst acting yet. He's caught on that Emma wasn't at the cafe by chance. But Kelly insists that what's important is that the plan is in motion and hopefully a success. Joe gets a text from his mom, needing him to take care of Willow for the afternoon. Kelly suggests they take her along to the zoo, and Joe maintains she can't know they're trying to get her an alpaca for her party. Willow takes to liking a particular alpaca that happens to be named Alfie, a character from the game she loves playing. Joe asks the caretaker if they can hire Alfie for her birthday, but the caretaker doesn't read the approach well, and Joe concedes they'll talk more later. Willow and Kelly continue vibing over alpacas, and Willow is moved to invite her to Joe's place for dinner. Joe reasons Kelly might have reasons to decline, but Kelly decides, for Willow's sake, she'll honor the invitation. Kelly shows up for dinner and enjoys good ice cream with Willow. They even pester Joe into trying some. Willow bursts into some funny dance moves coming from the game she loves so much. Kelly, who plays the game too, knows the moves and joins her. Joe stares at them and shakes his head in bewilderment. He tells Willow it's getting late and she'll need to check in with her parents. She and Kelly tease Joe for being so uptight, with Willow remarking he used to be more fun. Just before Willow has to step out, she gifts Kelly a friendship bracelet she made herself, wrapping it around Kelly's wrist. Willow also invites Kelly for her birthday party, and Kelly promises to honor the invitation. When she's gone, Joe remarks Kelly has become quite special to Willow, and Kelly infers she can see why Joe wants to go all out for Willow. Willow has become special to her too. Kelly gets an idea for how the finale of Willow's party should go. While Willow is video chatting her mom, updating her about her fun time, and gossiping a little about Joe's love life, Kelly is teaching Joe the Alfie Dale alpaca dance. They both start to vibe to it, but Joe bumps into Kelly at some point, and he has to catch her from falling. The embrace and the opportunity to hold each other's gaze at such close range looks like it's leading to a kiss. But Willow steps in just then, and they have to pull away. When she leaves, Kelly states she should get going. But she also reminds Joe they have an appointment to pick out balloons the following day. Kelly waits out on a bench with coffee and snacks for two. Emma shows up, sore and groaning. Turns out when Kelly and Joe left, Forrest invited her for a game of squash. It wasn't the same as playing tennis, and Forrest caught on that she's never played squash before. Now she's embarrassed and doubts she'll be able to see Forrest again. She comments, though, that Forrest was sweet about the whole ordeal, but she doubts if she can survive in the dating world. Kelly listens, laughs, and encourages her not to give up. But Emma proposes they talk less about her failed attempt at love and more about Kelly's quality time with Joe. Kelly denies it, explaining she and Joe are just hanging out strictly on a professional basis, and that's all there is to it. Emma isn't buying it, opining she's seen the way Joe looks at Kelly, and it is in no way professional. Kelly remains adamant she has no idea what Emma is getting at. The balloons check the last thing on Kelly's list for the big day. There are some minor things to confirm, but mostly everything is set for Willow's day with 3 days to spare. Joe commends Kelly's expertise, and she takes pride in the fact that he hired the best. He thanks her for the effort, but is cut short by an ache in his back. Seems it's something Kelly already knew, because she suggests she has just the remedy to cure it once and for all. It's yoga. Kelly has managed to bring Joe along for a yoga session. Joe is terrible at yoga and ends up making his back ache worse. When it's over, Kelly advises that he keeps practicing to get better. They'll be meeting a day before the party to set things up, and Joe decides to take Kelly out for dinner as a client's thank you gesture. Kelly infers the gesture isn't the most professional, but they can make it work by bringing their friends. It's a double date at the same restaurant. They listen to the music performer play. The owner is glad to see them back and excited they've brought along a friend. Joe kept his word and did a review on the restaurant, Dauphines, and the owner testifies that business has been booming since. The packed tables around them are the evidence. Emma is initially confused why they're at a table for 4 until Forrest shows up, to her surprise. Joe strikes conversation about their squash outing, and Emma starts to say it was awful, but Forrest asserts it was good, and he looks forward to playing again with Emma. After dinner, Forrest offers to take Emma on a walk, leaving just Joe and Kelly. Kelly beams at the sparks flying, and Joe assesses that Kelly enjoys organizing people's lives. He offers to walk her a distance, and after a bit of a hesitation, she agrees. Kelly proposes he could write about Horizon events like he did with Dauphine, and Joe wonders out loud why he didn't think to do that much earlier. He talks about writing the piece himself and painting Kelly in the very best light. They're out in the open night when they get the most personal with their conversations. Joe's family moved from New Jersey to New York, and he's grown to love the city. He's lived there for 4 years and moved there to be with an ex. He got the job he has, and it was all the more reason to stay. His mother joined him after his father passed away. With not much left to say, they look forward to their next meeting in 2 days to finalize their teamwork. Joe is at the cafe the next day, and Forrest learns he still hasn't told his family about his move to Dubai. Forrest insists he'll have to do it immediately and makes him understand he should tell Kelly as well, because it's obvious he has feelings for her. Kelly informs Samantha that Joe has agreed to feature the company in his website. Samantha is impressed and tells her the promotion is hers. She mentions she has a wealthy client from Japan she was supposed to handle, but doesn't mind Kelly partnering with her to meet the client's need. The client has a 7-figure paycheck budget, and it's an enticing proposal for Kelly. The client's schedule appointment clashes with Willow's birthday party, and Kelly expresses her wish to be there. It means she would have to sacrifice the new job proposal, and Samantha doesn't like the idea. She advises Kelly she shouldn't go about getting attached to clients and gives her time to make her final decision. Joe's mom urges him to come clean. He tells her about the new job and his growing feelings for Kelly. His mom advises that he follows his heart as it's his life. Kelly invites Emma for a sleepover, but she's too busy going strong with Forrest. At the cafe the next day, Forrest confirms he's enjoying Emma's company and doesn't plan to mess things up. Joe finds Kelly while she's still in the cafe, and they both have stuff to get off their chest. Kelly goes first and mentions she won't be able to come for Willow's party, as she has a new job to attend to, and it's not part of her job function to actually be at the event. Joe is visibly saddened and waves off what he had to say. They go to the event hall and meet bad news. The storm from the previous night caved in the roof and caused a mess. The hall would need to be shut down for repairs, and the attendant apologizes for the inconvenience. Joe worries about finding another venue in only 24 hours. He notes Kelly has done her best, and the last-minute chaos is not her fault. He promises the disappointment won't affect the feature of Horizon events in the Cititrend website. Then he comes right out with the fact that the feature will be his last for the website, as a new job is taking him to Dubai. Kelly is hurt. He didn't think to mention it earlier, and he defends there wasn't a reason to mention, It's since they just have a client and worker relationship. He thanks her again for her help and remarks he'll need to break the news to Willow. He bids her goodbye, but just as he's about to leave, Kelly asks him to give her till the evening to come up with a new plan so the party won't be canceled. Kelly calls several places, but they're all booked or unavailable. Joe tries to tell Willow her party has been canceled, but she's fast asleep when he summons up the courage to do so. Emma and Kelly spend time together at Kelly's place. Kelly opens up about her feelings for Joe. She can no longer fight, and Emma makes her recall how she and Kelly first met. She uses the story to explain bad luck could be life wanting to put a person in better graces. She continues to be Kelly's unpaid therapist, urging her to put as much energy into her life as she does for others. Kelly gets an idea and calls Joe. Morning comes and Joe takes Willow to the park to enjoy the air and some junk food. She assures she's not upset about her canceled party and has had so much fun with her uncle the past weeks. Joe offers to take her to the zoo, and when they get there, Willow meets a surprise party. It's everything Joe and Kelly planned for with a different venue. Kelly is present at the party and MCs the finale, the Alfie Dale the Alpaca dance featuring Joe and Willow. They pull it off nicely and have everyone in the mood to just dance. Kelly and Joe get talking a distance from the fun. Joe asks about her new client, and she tells him she's quit her job. She explains she wants to start her own event company and feels she's ready to do so, but not right away as she'd like to take time off to find a balance in her life. Joe announces he won't be going to Dubai as he would prefer to be close to his family and Kelly. Kelly likes she's been included in his thoughtful decision, and they share a kiss to signify the start of something promising.